dobry. Oskar Lewczuk, Fundacja Napraw sobie Miasto. Dzięki tutaj Fundacji GZM i Towarzystwu Urbanistów Polskich SARP-owi jesteśmy w D9 Space i naszym gościem jest Christina Suomi, dyrektorka planowania przestrzennego miasta Helsinki. How are you?
Fine, thank you.
You're the director at City of Helsinki for urban planning, and one of your main goals in planning is drone transportation in cities. Would you like explain us what actually is exactly it about? Because every teenage boy in every one of us thinks like Jetsons family and flying cars, but actually this is not what you're doing.
No. As an architect, I look for spatial planning. That's my duty. And I'm head of the strategic planning on leave and a director for this U-space project, which we've started for the 2 years to look after what the new carbon-free aviation, what those changes will mean to the city and its structure, but also the low airspace. We call that urban airspace, and it's only 120 meters high. But what is happening? It's a disruptive change. The flying robots, they are actually entering the low airspace very, very close to the city. We like to see that's a good service, and it's actually business, it's workplaces, etc. But those needs need to be fitted into the city's structures.
Okay. Actually, we are in the city of Katowice. The city of Katowice prepared like a airspace plan about 10 years ago, because we have airport in the city center, which is like for the very small planes. But actually, the city changed their mind because they wanted all these high buildings in the city center, and they abandoned the airplane for the city. And this is like perhaps from the time it was prepared, it was just before all this drones madness. It was just like planes, but now like this is changing everything, because now at the moment actually everyone can buy a small drone and fly almost everywhere, legally and illegally. Actually, what are the problems with drones in the city?
Well, we haven't really experienced problems because most of the majority of the drones, it seems like in Helsinki, they are for the authority use. So it's very responsible. We've been very fortunate and very lucky in that way that there hasn't really been misuse of drones. But what are the challenges actually? As a city, it would be brilliant to bring the usage of the drones more for the benefit of our own residents and citizens. But at the moment, it's not as agile as we would expect that to be. And so that I see is a problem. We don't see the economy happening, the investment, let's say, the investment risks too are too high for the economics also to drive. And this is kind of vicious circle at the moment. It's the aviation authorities, it's the cities, it's maybe the regions, the businesses, etc. They're all kind of waiting and watching each other, what should be done. But we've taken an initiative to try do the proof of concepts and everything. What does this big disruptive change mean, and how can we benefit from that for the city? Something you mentioned about the Katowice and the plan, that there's been a plan. That is really interesting because I'm thinking as an architect and urban planner that what would be the possibilities to take the van and the man and its city cargo, kind of city logistics, away from the congested streets. And that would be actually the next stage that we are kind of looking for the most complicated flights. I'm not that concerned about the small drones. That's quite fine. But what happens when the city logistics will be moved for those 1,000-kilo drones? I mean, lifting 1,000 kilos or 2,000 kilos. I am sure that when those who do the business people do the Excels, they will find the sweet spot when that change will happen. And then that would actually release the most precious commodity that the city has. It's the land, the land use. How can we maybe save some land, maybe create some parks, green areas, make areas better or something? That will be interesting. And maybe that city logistic, like you mentioned about the Katowice high-rise buildings. Maybe those high-rise buildings, we need to rethink those and their positioning in the cities. Whereas, these drones or unmanned aviation, it's supposed to be very, the sound is not as bad as the background sound, what we experience from buses and trams, etc. If those logistical needs for future cities could be done up in the low airspace, so that would be interesting. And then maybe rethinking the elevators, rethinking the reuse of outdated old office buildings. Maybe those should be the logistics centers. And then the micro logistics, which we think is electrified as well, carbon neutral, bicycles, electric automated things. Maybe we could just utilize the drones for the service of our cities in just totally new way. This is just a very, very first thought. I haven't really thought any longer, but it's really interesting. And then comes the most complex flying, which is those air taxis. With my colleague, my aviation expert, which we have a vacancy in Helsinki now, a permanent one. So my precious wingman, Mr. Jukka Keskiaskari, we actually did try, and we sat in one of those flying taxis in the Smart City Expo, and my gosh, it's only 130,000 euros one. That's what was told by the salesperson. And that's about the same price as for the electric Porsche Taycan you buy. So it's going to be really appealing to people. So, I mean, when the numbers expand, who's controlling that airspace? We don't have any control at the moment. We don't have that much say.
Yeah. Actually, if this manned taxis, flying taxis would appear, which is like a dream of every 10-year boy or 10-year boy, actually, will it be safe, or like we need to create the special regulations for that?
Actually, we rely on EASA, European Union safety agencies, and they're very good safety cautious policies. That must be the ultimate thing, and their track record, what comes to aviation safety, that's their hallmark. So that is something which is really precious, and it needs to be it needs to stay that way, and that is something which I definitely undersign as well, and that needs to be the goal. So I'm actually kind of outsourcing that to the aviation industry. It needs to be the responsibility also for the investor and the business operators. And of course then comes also the management of this airspace. So all that needs to work like a clockwork, like a Swiss clockwork. And I'm trusting on that's been taken care in the European Union with the U-space regulation. However, it's a bit too rigid, it's too expensive, and with the numbers at the moment, we would like those benefits to start, but it would be wonderful to get those started with a bit, maybe a bit lower cost mechanisms. I tend to say teaspoon at the time, not jumping into the deep end right away. So that is far too expensive, and I suppose that's the reason why things are a bit standstill at the moment. But hey, if this is the decision, unfortunately, we are losing the game in front of the Chinese or the American United States development, which really go fast. So
actually, Amazon is the first company that wanted to implement drones for delivering things. Yeah.
Yeah, and So, but really interesting. I think it's really fascinating, all this development, and I also see that there's a role for the cities to do, and I think it's a city's responsibility also to take the initiative, not to wait. It's not government. It's not any aviation authority of the old point-to-point travel, which remains. People will travel long haul flights still as it is, and that will change also. But the cities, they shouldn't be waiting anymore, because this land use planning, real estate, contracts, whatever mechanisms the cities have, they take such a long time. And so what we are doing at the moment is prep work, building up our own capacity to understand this change, which is going to happen. And by the time these electronic aeroplanes, the cargo drones get the certification, etc., once they start coming and are available, there's a queue of kind of use cases, people, businesses, and so waiting for those to come. And I also refer, I've seen pictures when you remember we don't remember, we've seen on the videos when the T4s, those black ones, come from some Detroit or conveyor belts in the United States in the early 1900s. Yeah. So I estimate that those drones, unmanned vehicles, it will be about the same.
So you are optimistic about the future drones in the city?
I think this optimism is my attitude, and that's my nature. So I kind of want to, I'm sure there will be enough obstacles. So I think making this to serve the society, a larger, big society, that needs to be the goal. And there will be difficulties and challenges on the way. So trying to keep an optimistic but certainly realistic way as well in my thinking.
Okay. So let's wait for the first drones, manned drones in the city. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and I want to be the first one flying it in Helsinki.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.